Podcast City Network. This is Brad Chandler, and you're listening to The Brad Chandler Show.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Brad Chandler Show. You can find me. Make sure to go and follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/Brad Chandler Show. And also, please make sure to go check out my website. It's www.bradchandlershow.com. Today with me, I have UK band new guys. They're up and coming. They just started releasing some music. Beseech The Scars. I have members Revenant and War Mechanic. How are we doing today, guys?
How you doing there, buddy?
How's it going? We're doing very well. We're very well, thank you. How you doing?
I am doing fantastic. So one of the first things I kind of want to ask you guys is the reasoning behind you guys have told me that you guys are trying not to reveal yourselves and whatnot. And this is actually one of the first episodes that I have done where I can't see the person that I'm talking to. I haven't seen you guys. I don't know what you look like. You could be hideous creatures. You guys could be models or whatever. I don't know what you look like. Let's tell everybody the reasoning behind not revealing yourselves.
Well, I think it's like most things, it's trying to create a sort of an air of mystery, get a bit more intrigue in there. You know, we've got a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes and sort of people we're trying to work with. And so it's sort of, people like that kind of reveal at the end of it all. You know, they're sort of like, oh, these are the guys, you know. So it's good to build up a picture in your mind of who we might look like and then completely dispel that by looking completely different. But it's the way the internet goes these days, I think. You know, some people decide to sort of go out and say this is who we are, and when we want to create that little bit more air of mystery.
I'm actually sitting here thinking to myself, like, I see your name, War Mechanic, and I'm just thinking of like a Transformer type person, you know, and like I'm imagining like a robot or something like that. I'm imagining like these guys dressed up, painted, and stuff like that. I personally can't wait. I've been talking to you guys, I want to say for at least a month. And like every time I talk to you guys, I'm just like, I wonder what they actually look like, you know? So I definitely get the appeal. You know, there's been bands out there that have done similar things. I'm not saying that that's the route you're going. I'm just saying, like, you had bands like Slipknot. You didn't know who they looked like for like the longest of times. The guys from Mushroom Head, stuff like that. And even guys like Kiss. So yeah, it's actually it works. It does work. So if you don't reveal yourself and you get people thinking and whatnot, it has that big reveal.
Well, it might well be that it kind of ties in well with what we're doing with the music as well. Because what we're trying to do is we're releasing, like, for our first track we released was kind of be what we consider a bit more of a commercial offering, you know, something that kind of a little bit of something for everything, not completely intense one direction or another. But we're kind of trying to ramp up to sort of show more and more of what we're going to be doing. I mean, stay tuned for the later tracks for sure. But this all sort of ties in, I guess. I mean, sorry, I won't take over, but there you go.
No. I'm trying to understand the situation and whatnot, like behind the reveal. It makes perfect sense to me. You guys have 2 tracks so far. They are one is a lyric video, and one is, was the other one also a lyric video?
More a visualizer would be best to say. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And the way that you guys are going is like futuristic.
Oh yeah, hyper modern, definitely. Like loads of old school callbacks to old influences and stuff, but kind of wrapping all of that up and saying, right, we're in 2021. What can we do with this? How can we put it in a nice, pretty big box and make it slamming, make it interesting to watch, interesting to listen to?
Yeah, and I have to admit, I followed you guys, and I don't know which one of you guys actually sent me a message, but I followed you guys, and you guys thanked me for following you, and then I listened to it, and like right away, I was like, "Fucking right." You know, like I loved it. I fucking loved it. And as soon as I listened to it, I was like, I would love to get you guys on my show. And I was kind of hoping like you'd have more music and whatnot that I could hear, because I love what I've heard and I only want to hear more. But I understand exactly what you're doing. You're doing like you're releasing a song every 2 months, correct?
Yeah, I mean, look, the basic ethos here is that there's kind of two ways. A lot of people kind of go out there and say, "This is our album. This is us. Yeah, this is what we do, and you know, enjoy everything we create." And as a quick side note, by the way, it's always like, I know it sounds kind of a little bit twee, but it's awesome to hear that people are enjoying our music. You know, we just create our little thing in our bubble, and we're trying to get it out there. But you know, we appreciate you taking the time to have a listen to it. But the long and the short of it is that we've got sort of so much more that we're going to deliver, that we want to make sure that we deliver it nice and progressively. So
right,
yeah, everything's got to be modern, everything's got to be hyper new, and everything's got to be delivered, but everything's going to be something slightly different. So there's loads of fun things coming up.
I have to admit it's a different way to do things, and I like it. And when you guys told me that you guys were releasing a song every 2 months, I was like, why not just release it all together? Just release it all so everybody can hear it. It made me think, and I'm like, you guys are doing it right. You know, you're literally making me want more. So making me want more, you've got these other people. Like, I've noticed that your song, Whilst Hidden, your video has been up for a little over a month, and you've already got over 1,000 views on it.
Yeah, I mean, onward and upwards. I mean, going back to what you're saying about releasing it, you know, one track at a time. We're going a different route. Yeah, I think it's fair to say that a lot of what people consume in the internet is very kind of quick. It's 30 seconds in, 30 seconds out. You know, do I like this next track? Skip album. You know, and I think what we wanted to try and do is, because we're releasing tracks which we know are not your kind of standard 3-4 minute tracks. You know, I think the shortest ones we've got like 6-7 minutes. So we want to give people a little bit more of a chance to digest what we've got going on, have a chance to enjoy the track, you know, its entirety, rather than sort of skipping through the album. You can do that when we've released all of them.
I have to admit, usually when I'm finding bands and whatnot, I'll listen to like the first like 30 to 40 seconds of the song. If I don't get hooked on that song, I'm probably not going to listen to the rest of them. And
yeah,
I have to admit, I'm one of those people that like the 3 to 4 minute songs. And then when I saw your guys's Whilst Hidden video, I saw that it was 6 minutes long, but I listened to the whole fucking thing, and I was shocked because I don't usually listen to songs that long. And
flew by, right?
It was incredible. It hooked me. Your visualization on the video is fucking awesome. You have the lyrics with it. One of the cool things I actually liked about this is, because I know people with epilepsy, is that you actually posted up that a caution for that.
Yeah, we've got to be careful. I mean, I think when we produced it, we were like, it's going to be pretty intense, and we're like, as much as we can all kind of deal with it, there was still that point where like we need to consider others. You know, we're always trying to make sure that's
cool, man.
Yeah.
I thought that I saw that, and I was just like, man, that's cool. Like, you don't see things like that. Like, other people don't think of things like that when they're creating their music videos. And your music video is more of a visualization with the lyrics and whatnot. I love it. We'll actually be listening to it and watching the video at the end of the episode. So I'd like to know, like, what inspired you guys? Like, what kind of music do you guys listen to? Are you guys metalheads? Do you listen to like death metal, heavy metal, like thrash, shit like that? Do you listen to any other types of music?
Well, unfortunately, being the typical prima donna of a guitarist, you know what it's like. We like anything that's flamboyant, anything that's kind of a bit outrageous. I kind of grew up on anything that involved 80s hair metal, that kind of thing. So it was always that kind of perception of if you're not vacuum packed into tight blue jeans and wearing white trainers, you just weren't metal and cool, yeah. So what came with that was a whole bunch of really cool guitarists. I mean, obviously back in the 80s, 90s, whatever, there's all these crazy solos and everything. So that's kind of where I started, because guitarists, we like to whittle fretula wank.
I actually have a buddy of mine that's he'd probably have a good conversation with you about guitarists back in the 80s. He probably he could have some good talks with you. Yngwie Malmsteen and shit like that.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah. But that's the thing. You leave a guitarist in a room, two guitarists. You could, if you wanted to spark a conversation, if they look like they're not interacting that well, just throw like a guitar pedal in the middle of it and go, "This is the best pedal ever," and that's it. Boom, you'll start a conversation.
I shit you not, I'm a guitarist myself, and from metal. Yeah, you can throw any type of pedal in there, and you guys can spark a conversation. One person's going to say, "Yes, this is one of the greatest." But and then the other one's gonna be like, "Nah, this thing sucks. I can make it. I can dial this in so much better." So, what about you, Revenant?
In terms of influences, well, I was a bit more of a different upbringing than War. I mean, I originally got into metal from sort of like Guns N' Roses and your Iron Maiden type thing by raiding my brother's sort of contraband stash of recordings, all the things that were hidden by my parents. Because my dad was a jazz musician, so he was all into listening to Dill Cats and listen to Queen and Deep Purple and stuff, and that's like listen.
Did we lose you?
Oh, we just lost him. Let's
lost him. There we go. Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
No problem. No problem.
Back again. No, my phone just decided to turn off for some reason. Yeah, so I kind of got the progressive fever, as it were, listening to stuff like Deep Purple, and I wanted something a bit heavier than say Deep Purple and Queen that my dad was introducing me to, and something a bit deeper. I rated as Johnny Cash stuff. So I got into that kind of thing. And yeah, when I stumbled upon my brother's collection of things, he just handed me this a bunch of records, and it was just like, yeah, I'm not into this anymore. Check them out. So I was like, yeah, excellent. So it was a whole bunch of. I remember Appetite for Destruction, Number of the Beast, and Peace Sells, But Who's Buying, by Megadeth. I mean, Megadeth are my. I love Dave's lyrics. He's incredible. The way he writes a story is just fantastic, and I try to be as eloquent as him when I'm telling a story, and just sort of elaborate on the things that have been taught before us, but not try and emulate them and copy what they're doing.
Yeah, it's super hard. I played guitar. I've been a vocalist. I have played bass, and it's extremely hard to take your influences and try to put it into your music, but not copy exactly what they do. And one of the things that I had done as a guitarist is I will sit there and I will try to learn a song, and I will purposely fuck that song up so that I can try to make my own shit out of it.
You're so on point, man. Yeah, so on point as a guitarist as well. Yeah, sorry.
It's one of the things that I always love to do, and I'm probably going to get a lot of shit for this one. I love Megadeth. I think Dave is a great musician, but
shouldn't get any shit for that.
No, this is where I'm going to get the shit. His voice is so fucking annoying.
Yeah, he can. I mean, especially in now where everything's getting that lower and more tuned and more visceral, you notice how high Dave's voice is by comparison, don't you?
I love Megadeth. I love their music, but as soon as he starts fucking singing and it's that whiny, raspy voice, I'm just like, ah.
Do you know what? It's interesting, actually. You should mention that, because when we were first sort of setting up the band, we had a sort of vocalist on board, kind of, not quite, kind of. And actually, one thing we noticed was he was a great singer. You know, I mean, you meet some great people. I mean, through auditions, man, I could write a biography just from the people we've met through auditions and things
Right.
like that. But it was interesting because his voice. We played 7 strings. We're down tuned. You know, we like it nice and low and dirty as well as melodic, and you that difference, like that gap, that ravine, you know, but his vocals and where our music sits. And this is why when I met Rev, I was like, oh yeah, you've got a nice low, gravelly, dirty metal scream voice. That's gonna fit just nice.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to tell that you were playing a 7-string. Nowadays with bands and whatnot, they tune their 6 strings. Like I have a 6-string tuned down to A, or drop A, and you hear that all over the place. And nowadays, more people are playing the 7 strings and whatnot. As a guitarist myself, I do have to ask, what equipment do you use?
Oh, okay. So are we geeking out? Are we?
Yes, a little bit.
Okay, all right. Okay, so my main axes are series of Ibanez 7 strings. Like, make no mistake, I picked them up years ago. I managed to pick them up for a deal, and it's only just now that I'm looking on eBay and I'm like, wow, they're going up in price. Yay! As a musician, you like a little investment, but they're all RG 7620s. So I'm a big. I mean, 50 Ways to Love Your Lever, man. I love fucking around with tremolos, like, all the warbly stuff. After that, signal chains and stuff, I used to do all the valve amp thing. Yeah, I used to do like big pedals, big stacks, 2 4x12 cabs, lugging that around, breaking my back in the process. But now it's mostly amp sims. So I use the Line 6 Helix Native to create those absolutely gnarly, dirty tones. And most of it's all done in the box. This is kind of what we embrace now. Everything, technology in the works.
And how about you, Revenant? What do you use?
I primarily use the Aston Spirit. Absolutely love that. It's a fantastic microphone. It's one of the best I've found so far. I've tried all the big boys. When I originally started here, we had a Shure
SM57, just standard live mic,
just very, very standard live mic. Recording through that, and what was it, about a year ago, we got the Aston Spirit, tuned that up and played around with that, and oh my god, the sound you get out of it is incredible. It's one of those things that everyone should try. If you can get hold of one, grab one. And also love the V7s by SE Electronics. They're really, really good mics. Great dynamic microphones. If you want to use them for live shows and things like that, very robust. They pick up, as an alternative to Shure. If you play with a Shure and you're not quite sure about it,
sorry about that, War. I can hear you guys echoing in the background. That's why.
Sorry, buddy.
Not a problem.
No, you're okay. Sorry about that. My mainstay would be the Aston Spirit. Definitely, that's my go-to in the studio.
And what are you guys using to program the rest of the music? Because obviously, as a guitarist and a vocalist, and you guys being the only members in the band, you have to be able to program your drums.
I'm so glad you asked that, because this is that opportunity for us to turn around and say, oh my God, we're already stressed as all hell. If we know any musicians, anybody wants to collaborate with us, animators, marketing, artists, creative types, whatever you are, wherever you're from, whatever stage you're at, we want to hear from you, because we need the help. Like the end game is obviously we get the musicians on board. We hopefully take this all out live. Would be nice to do a face reveal of the whole band, I guess, would be like the nice line to draw under it. But yeah, we program everything. We have to. I mean, literally using Cubase as a DAW, as a digital audio workstation. Everything's recorded in, and of course, to be honest, the problem with programming drums, everybody's like, oh yeah, it's all to the grid, it's all in time, it's all perfect. But you're like, you have to learn how to become a drummer. Like, you have to know what a drummer's going to do. We had to create this personality for percussion of this guy who's this seasoned veteran who has his style, who's just playing in our music, to make it sound. And I tell you what, man, like, a couple of years behind a kit, I reckon I could be a pro, given just what I probably wouldn't. I'd fail miserably. But you have to create this personality. You know, you can't just plug it in and go, oh, it's drums, it works, nobody will notice.
Yeah, drumming is probably I'd have to say one of the hardest instruments to learn in a metal band. You're using all four limbs at the same time.
Oh, the coordination, yeah.
And you're doing everything out of time too. So, like, to learn all that and, you know, create that as like you were the drummer programming it and whatnot. If you don't know what the fuck you're doing, it's going to end up sounding like shit.
Yeah, it's going to sound like a proper robot. Now, look, don't get me wrong. If I sat down with a real drummer, he's going to sit next to me and he's going to go, right, this is kind of right. This is good. I like what you did there. And actually, it's quite funny because as a guitarist, when you write a fill, that a drummer raises his eyebrows and goes, oh, that's interesting. What did you do there? And you're like, let me take you closer. Let's have a discussion. But then there's other times where he's like, dude, like, you got to change this. This sounds like a machine gun or something, you know? And it's stuff that you just didn't even think of. Oh, of course, you know. So there's still plenty to learn, man. Still plenty to learn.
Yeah, and once you guys end up having a drummer, it's gonna make your sound like when you have a live drummer, and it's not electronics that you're using or programming into the song and whatnot. It's gonna have such a better sound to it. Not saying that you guys don't have a great sound as it is, but like a live drummer, you know,
that just adds to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely does.
It's that human element, isn't it?
It's that extra element there. But the sad thing about it is when you add another person, you add another an entity to where there's going to be some like type of drama or bullshit, you know, because being in a band is basically being in a relationship with, you know, 3 to 5 people, and you add that extra entity and it's like, dude, I'll go back to using the fucking keyboards.
Well, this is what it boils down to, though, isn't it? Because ideally, you know, we sort of started this process up. We could have sat there and gone, right, let's get a whole band together, get everybody ready, looking prim and proper, and we practice the music and get out there. Or we could go the quicker route, which is write the music. Hopefully entice the right musicians because you have a wider reach. Like where we're in the UK, yeah, I make no mistakes. About 50 miles in every direction, there is nothing but eagle country, which is flat fields and boredom. All right, so make no mistake that the internet is going to be one of our powerful tools that we can go out to meet these people that want to work with us, that we want to work with, that we can kind of form that ideal scenario. You know, the perfect drummer, the perfect bassist. It's a perfect bassist. Yeah, the perfect bassists exist, I'm sure. Yeah. oh yeah, what a legend, Primus, right?
Yeah.
Never ever forget a moment to drop in Winona's Big Brown Beaver.
40 fucking story. So I'm gonna go completely off subject here. I used to be a cook. I used to be a cook at a strip club, and I was friends with the DJ. And there were a couple ladies that used to like dance that I just didn't get along with, and I'd go up and like request songs. And Winona's Big Brown Beaver was one of those songs that these girls had to dance to Winona's Big Brown Beaver. Like, can you imagine this? Like, these girls in G-strings fucking played, like, shaking their ass to Winona's Big Brown Beaver. That's
a legendary request.
Yeah, I got fucking like yelled at for that by them. But so I want to know how
you put pictures in my head now.
I don't want to know about Winona's Big Brown Beaver. How did you guys end up like collaborating with each other? War Mechanic, you said that you had a couple auditions and whatnot with some people, with vocalists and everything. And when Revenant came in, so I want to know like the process. Like, how did you go through this?
So it's pretty straightforward, although it sounds way more straightforward than it actually is, right? It always sounds so simple, isn't it? All I did was I advertised my band, and then people turned up and said they liked my band, and then they came and joined my band, and we had ice cream, and it was nice. Yeah, like this is the point of where what happened was Rev was kind of like the diamond in the rough. I mean, like I said, we met some lovely people, but for various reasons, just didn't fit the style. You know, there's nothing I can do to take away somebody's voice if it just doesn't fit the music that we're looking for.
Right.
But the long and the short of it is, it's that process. You know, you're sitting down, you're noodling in your room, you're creating songs, you've got all these great tools, and now you've got to get it out there. So now
Right,
we go and stick it up onto like a local band website in the UK. We have a joinmyband.co.uk, a good little website. If anybody's not on there, really plenty of musicians, and I think they do international American site versions as well. But that's what we did. Just put up an emphatic kind of, please come and help us, please come and join. And Rev was one of those guys that we shared the same sort of humor. Yeah, when you can kind of when conversation just drops all its facades and you just start having a chat with someone, it clicks, doesn't it? And Rev's just got that kind of same. It's like when you hang out with that dude that you make the same Family Guy references or something like that, and that's what we were doing. Before we knew it, we were best buddies that had only just met. We didn't know we were best buddies yet. And
you guys
and
were.
I think you
guys were like the guys from Step Brothers.
Yeah, a little bit
Did we
separated.
just become best friends? Yep. Do you want to go do karate in the garage? Yep.
Look, we don't cross swords on the way out of the bathroom to high five each other. I'm just putting it that way. We are good friends, but
not that close.
Not that. Well, there's a couple. No, we won't. Wait for the face reveal.
Give it a few years on the tour bus.
But
right.
But yeah, so
years on the tour bus. I like that one.
It's the same thing though, man. It's just meeting the right people. There's billions of people in the world, and that's what everything is most these days, isn't it? It's networking. It's just meeting the right people, being in the same room as the right person you need to work with. And Rev, by sheer fucking dumb luck, mate, I'm pretty sure it's nothing more than just it was the right time. The universe unfolded in the way it should have done, and we met and crossed paths. Because what ended up happening was, Rev, if you don't mind me saying, like, basically he had a problem with his old house as well. So we were at the stage where we didn't really know each other that well. He's basically, his landlord at the time, I think, was selling off the flats or something like that. And he was like, shit, I've got nowhere to live. And I'm like, well, fuck, I've got a spare room here. No, we've got a spare room. I was like, just come and get settled. But I expect vocals, like, you're my bitch officially. Yeah. Sorry, Rev, I didn't mean to.
That's right. I arrived with whips and chains and lube and all that stuff, and I had it all ready to go.
Basically, prerequisites before the door.
And he was like, "No, it was a joke, dude. It was a joke. It's all good."
So
it was a lot of fun. I remember that first meeting. That was a hell of a lot of fun. We're just sitting here, just swapping influences, and listening to the absolute plethora of music that War had on the DAW. It was just amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I've had that same type of experience where, like, when you connect, you fucking connect, and it's awesome. Yeah. It's that awesome feeling. I had a band where I was promoting at an Ozfest, and I handed out, I want to say it was probably around 2,500 flyers looking for a drummer. Out of all of those flyers that I sent out, I got one response, and that one response was this girl who said, my boyfriend's a drummer. He would fit you guys. We didn't have any music. How the fuck did you know that he would fit us, And I went down. Him and I had talked for a little bit. I grabbed my guitar. I grabbed a practice amp. And we jammed out for like an hour and a half. Didn't even realize it was an hour and a half. But like, I was like, dude, if you want in, you're in. And it literally, we clicked. It's literally the best feeling in the world when you have that connection with somebody you just met. It's like, oh my God, dude, I found my soulmate. I found my fucking soulmate.
Your new best buddies.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that him, the guitarist, and we all moved in together. We had a house. We all rented. Dude, we used to play until 2:00 in the morning. We had it was fucking. It was probably one of the coolest times in my life as a musician. Like we just get trashed and just play, and it was cool. It was fun as fuck, and I kept in touch with the guitarist. He's one of my best friends now, and the drummer. Unfortunately, I don't know where he is, but I've met some awesome musicians throughout my time in our scene. But over in the UK, right now, you guys are kind of on a lockdown, right?
Yeah, and let's not even talk about all the other stuff that comes with it. But yeah, lockdown is, well, this is part of the reason why we've done all this the way this route is, because we're like, okay, internet, people, networking, lockdown. How do we make an equation out of this?
Absolutely, it makes 100%. I was talking to a band from the UK a couple of episodes ago, and they were telling me, like, you guys literally cannot leave your house unless you're going to get groceries or you're going to work.
Yeah, well, you're allowed to send your kids to go to school to just cough on each other and bring those back, but adults aren't allowed to go out. No, it's a bit controversial, I know, but it's yeah. I mean, that's the long and the short of it, man. Is we've been going to this probably Italy's just had it's on its third lockdown, so we're kind of really hoping that doesn't sort of come back to the UK, because we're on our little island, we're in our little bubble, our little safety net or whatever. But yeah, it's worrying times, man, because the musicians there's only so long that people can sustain no money, right?
Right. No, I hear you. And luckily, for people that are in lockdown and whatnot, I have such I sympathize with them because I remember when COVID hit America and they started shutting things down. I was like, well, fuck me. I have no idea what I'm gonna fucking do now once we lock down. And luckily enough for myself, my job was essential, so we had to stay open, and I've literally have worked this entire time. Fortunately for myself, I haven't had to deal with the stress of what am I going to do next, and it sucks. It sucks for everybody that has to think that, And for my musician friends, the other thing that sucks is, like, I used to go to shows every fucking weekend, and I had friends that played shows every fucking weekend, and I had friends that their mental stability was like impacted by the fact that, like, they weren't allowed to play shows. So I'm hoping that this shit gets fucking figured out soon, because this mask and fucking not going anywhere, not being able to see like music or sports, anything like that, is getting fucking old.
I hate to say it, but as on the flip side of it, yeah, I mean, yeah, totally wrong. Totally, we want to get out there. We want freedom. I want to go down the shops without somebody looking at me going, "Where's your mask?" and "Is this an essential journey?" But there is one aspect of it, which is, if you ask a guitarist, right, who's got his DAW and he's got all his toys and he's got his pretty lights and flashy buttons and things like that, he said, like, if you had 6 months just to sit in your room and wank your way through scales, would you take it? You're like, yeah, fuck yeah, I would. Like, I remember seeing that meme where it's like COVID, lockdowns, like one side of it is like like worried because I don't know when I'll ever get this amount of sleep ever continuously ever again, or the other one is like worried because I don't know when I'll ever have this much free time to get on with all my own passion projects ever again, and it's that coin, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely it's a it's a double-edged sword there. And I've had the past year to fucking play guitar, do music and whatnot, and sad to say, I haven't touched my instruments since COVID started.
No. I sat down. I was like, well, I got a few free hours a day. Time to buff them skills.
Yeah, no, I actually ended up having more things hit my plate, and I haven't really had time. Plus, all my equipment is at my ex guitarist's house, and he's never there. So,
did you mind if I ask, what was it you were doing when lockdown hit that you carried on working? You said you worked for part of an essential service.
I work in a manufacturing shop in Connecticut, obviously USA, and that's about as much as I can really talk about that.
Oh, okay, yeah,
fair enough.
Oh, so, looking at now look who's being secretive.
No, unfortunately, I'm not. We're not allowed to, like, actually talk about what
you're
we
right,
do.
man.
So,
it's Fight Club.
But you were employed, and that's the main thing. I mean, you were able to earn a living. So
it's Fight Club. Yes,
Fight Club.
You nailed it.
Oh God, I shouldn't be talking about it either. Sorry.
God, the first rule, man. Yeah, like literally the first fucking rule.
Oh, I'm out.
Sorry, just a small amount of Yeah, we've got a small reprimand session that'll be happening later, Rev. I'm not going to let that slide. Yeah, sorry.
Again.
Fight Club's such a great movie, anyways.
It's legendary.
Have you guys seen that? Have you seen that group for Fight Club? And it says 3,000 something people talking about Fight Club, and it says the first. It like circles it. It says the first fucking rule, people.
So true.
That's brilliant.
So, your lyrical content. How do you get the inspiration behind that?
I'm gonna hand this over to Rev because he really needs to talk most about it. But essentially, what he gets is a concept from me. Like I try and create the music in a very, I guess, phonetical kind of way. Like if I want to convey AC, like if we're telling a story in the song, which we do, which we're not going to give away all of the details just yet because it's fun to see people interpret them in different ways. But
Right.
essentially, every single song has a fixed concept, and I say to Rev, here is the music. This is what I want to convey. And I will talk to him about maybe which parts of the guitars or sections of the song are particularly relevant to that parts of the story. And then I hand to Rev, who's going to tell you about his. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. If you, specifically talking about Whilst Hidden, that was one that I did a lot of research on, to be honest, because of the subject matter. And there is a very small, well, not a very small dip. There are certain people that if they listen to the song and read the lyrics, it will mean something to them. So yeah, so I did a lot of research into it. I wanted to make it something. I wanted to make the lyrics something impactful. Something would hit you right in the face. Something that can convey the story well enough, and something that was a bit more profound. Something a bit more, something a bit deeper to listen to. Something you could interpret, not necessarily, oh, this is a story, this is what's happening. It would be more likely something that you could almost deliberately misinterpret.
So for some, what was it like? Whilst Hidden was interpreted a couple of different ways. Some people were looking at it as like a kind of almost like a checkbook, like kind of look out for yourself, stand your ground, in the literal sense, isn't it? Kind of being supportive.
Sense,
yeah, exactly. So, but there's lots of hidden meanings. Like I said, we're going to go through this, and I think we'll probably do it on the Patreons and things like that as well. Like initially,
yeah,
but further down the line, we definitely want to share absolutely everything. But for the moment, it's like play all your cards close to your chest. Let the hands get dealt, and we can just enjoy what people are interpreting from our music.
It's funny because as you guys are talking about this, I'm looking through your YouTube channel with Whilst Hidden, and one of the comments made me kind of giggle because I wouldn't want this reference, but I want to know what you guys think about this. It's like Linkin Park, but extra fucking heavy.
Well, look, let's put it this way. If we got as famous as Linkin Park, don't think I'm going to be entirely unhappy with that result. You reckon?
I wouldn't be upset, but I mean, like referencing me to Linkin Park would probably make me upset.
We've had, the thing is, so many people pick different influences. Like people tell me, oh, I can hear the Metallica in there. You're like, okay, cool. I can hear Bullet for My Valentine, or I can hear Slipknot, or whatever. Static X, or whatever. Yeah, and it's like, what I think is really good is that I think every single person we ask seems to like pick up a different influence from them, and that to me is almost a bit of a win. Like I get what you're saying about Linkin Park, yeah, but at the same time, it's like
I'm just being a dick about that.
No, it's cool. No, but it's cool. But it opens up the point.
I actually like Linkin Park, so I'm not going to sit here and bullshit. I actually like Linkin Park. So
Hybrid Theory is a legendary album.
Amazing.
One of my favorite songs on one of my favorite songs on that album is Paper Cut, and it's the first track, and it's so much fun to play on guitar. In my opinion, it's one of those songs that like it's so easy that like when you learn it, it's like, wow, like how did they come up with something so simple?
Yeah, I mean, they're songmeisters, man. They do. Yeah. I mean, they got famous for a lot of marketing and things like that as well. But at the same time, they wouldn't have held their form for those first couple of albums if they weren't doing something right.
Yep, they absolutely did do something right. And so I want to know, like, what are you guys expecting to do within the next year? I know that you guys are expecting to release a song like every couple months and whatnot, but like in the year coming, should we expect like a full album, like a CD release, something like that?
We might do a summary. The next songs we've got coming up. So, for example, we've got another song that's coming up next, which is going to be Dark Skies. Now, this one's going to be 8 minutes. It's going to be a big progressive track. It's got a nice central theme to it. We're working on the video at the moment. So this is the thing we're doing, is a video sort of kind of unique to each track. And the plan is, I guess, after this year, is really to hopefully instantiate a couple of things. Now, on a personal level, what I kind of want to get doing, this is kind of a springboard a little bit for me, to be able to do some motion capture stuff and actually start capturing the guitar performance, so that we can sort of start teaching people some of the music. So if people want to learn the riffs, we've got it all captured as like a 3D rendered performance. So it's me playing a guitar with some motion capture gloves or something like that, and actually playing it through. Tablets are rolling underneath it, and people can actually zoom in, pause the video, and go, "Oh, what's this guy playing for the whole track?" Yeah, but we're going to do some cool stuff around it, some cool CGI with the guitar player and things. But I guess the long term for us is to, like you say, we'll probably do like a collection, I guess, like a 2021 collection that we will release as an entire entity. But for the most part, we're not really planning to summarize it until probably the second year's out. So for us, it's going to be new track, new endeavor, new sounds, new sights every single time that we release something.
I'm sorry. I had that echo going on in the background. Sorry, Revenant. Go ahead.
No, I deliberately muted my mic as well. I think you hit the mic mute at the same time as I did, so I turned it off and on again. Yeah, I mean, the way we're looking at the project is we call it a project because it's not just about releasing the music. You know, we want to create more of an entity on YouTube. We want to share our knowledge. You know, War does a lot of work in production. You know, he doesn't just want to write his music and get it out. He also wants to help other people mixing. You know, so if anyone needs a mix, come to us. We'll help you out. You know, War will absolutely help you out. He's absolutely fantastic at what he does. He's very, very, you know, he
neurotic as fuck.
Yeah, I was trying to skirt around that, but okay. Yeah, he looks at the minutiae of things, and I think that's definitely what helped me become a better musician. You know what I mean? It's like any decent relationship. You know, you bounce off each other, and the best thing that you've found a good relationship is when you make each other better people. And he you know, War's definitely made me a better vocalist. And segueing into that, I want to help other people become a better vocalist. You know, if you need help with your vocals, then I want to help you out. I want to teach you. If there's anything you need to know, ask me a question. You know, hit me up on Twitter. Hit either of us up on Twitter. Yeah, we'll more than likely help you out.
Go ahead and plug your Twitter, your YouTube. If you guys have a Facebook or a website that they can get you at, go ahead and plug that.
Absolutely everything at /Beseech The Scars. So YouTube /Beseech The Scars, Twitter /Beseech The Scars, Patreon, Facebook. All our releases are on all the major streaming platforms. I mean, literally, if you want to come and hang out with the guys themselves, we also hang out on the SMG server. That's the Spectre Media Group Discord server. We can ping you a link to that if need be. But yeah, that's where we're often hanging out there in voice as well. So you come and hang out with us and a bunch of other guys.
And people will also be able to catch you guys, your retweets and stuff. I'll retweet you guys. And I will also be posting the links. I'll grab the links from the guys and I will post them on my website. You'll be able to find all the information on how to contact them, how to follow them, how to listen to them. And we are actually going to listen to one of your songs, and I'll let you guys actually introduce the song.
Go, Rev, go on in.
Okay, well, I'm Revenant from Beseech The Scars, and you're listening to Whilst Hidden.